Alright, here we go. Excuse me for a second. Okay, so we are going to get to playing, but I think before I do that, I should address whoever may happen to stop by. So first of all, welcome to the first video of this new channel. Technically speaking, you may see one potential video before this one, so technically it will look different, but really this was the first one I'm recording. I'll probably just get the second one out first because I think it's going to be a lot shorter, but I'm going to put down what we're doing right now. So we're going to be playing in this world. This world is called CommunityFoster, and what that is a world that's kind of like a big project I've been working on. So this right here, this big map, this is the entire world right here, right now. This is an old world that I generated and I've been playing on since I think 2019, somewhat near the end of the year. I'll have to check on that, I'm not certain yet, but I've been playing this for a while, about I would guess since it would probably be around the end of 2019, close to a year and a half. One of my longer worlds. I'm not sure if it's the longest. Eventually it will be the longest, but that requires further explanation. So I'll give you a brief explanation of what we've got going on here. So where can I go for a good view of the place? I suppose, yeah, we'll go to the lighthouse. That's one of the better places to get a view. So, as you can tell, again, I've already said I've made this world over a year ago, but as you can tell already, it looks like I've been a little bit busy, and boy, I certainly have been busy. So I'll lay this thing down first. I'm not going to give a world tour right now, that is. I plan to give one once this world is complete, at least its first stage is complete. I'll explain what I mean by that in a second. Once it's complete, then I want to give a full tour and basically just kind of show it off. But for now, I'm just going to continue where I've left off, and you'll get to gradually, hopefully, learn things as I go. I'll probably end up kind of spreading out the explanation of everything across all the videos. Like, say, I'll stop by one place and be like, oh yeah, this is such a place, I built it at this time, and this is what I use it for, or whatnot. But I'm not going to focus the video on actually showing everything until the world is at the time I have appointed. But I will perhaps give some insight as to what I'm doing based upon kind of what got this world started. So essentially, this world was created back in 2019, but I've been playing Minecraft actually a lot longer than that. I think I started playing back in 2013. I don't remember what point in the year, but I'm pretty sure it was that year I started playing. So I've been going for 7, 8 years now, maybe starting to head towards 9. But I started playing on the Pocket Edition on an iPod Touch 4th generation, and gradually trying other editions on different devices. I haven't tried all of them, but gradually I've worked my way up to where I am now, which is basically Windows on a computer, and it's really nice. It's so much. I don't know how to put it. Just it's a lot more. There's a lot more you can do with it. There's a lot more at your disposal, it seems. Just even with a bigger system, a system that's just more powerful, I suppose. Granted, it is pretty impressive that a world like this could even work on a smartphone, or shoot, an iPod Touch 4th generation. Granted, I think they stopped updating those a long time ago, so it's not like I can actually play this world on that anymore, but that's getting a little off topic. So, I've been playing Minecraft for a long time, and I've noticed a pattern when I've been playing. This pattern is basically that ever since I've been playing, I get lots of ideas, and seems like I almost can't shut my brain off. They just keep coming day after day, minute after minute, and they're impatient ideas. They want to be addressed right now. I really want to do them. Of course, that's not always practical to do everything you want on impulse, but I've tried to do that in games sometimes, and basically what that means is, I'll start off with, a survival world, a creative world, maybe 1, maybe 2, maybe 3, a small number of worlds. And then over time, as I do lots of things, I'll try different ideas. One will pop in my head, I'll be like, oh, I'd like to do that, but I'm so busy doing this on this other world, and I'm kind of tired of it anyway. So you know what, let's just make a whole new world for this idea. And it might even be better, because we can head straight into the idea instead of having to prepare and then try and, find the location of the materials we might need to actually pull this off. And in a way that makes sense. It actually makes sense to have a lot of these worlds, and every time you have a new idea, make a new world for it, basically, because that is a form of organization, This world is for this world is for that, blah-de-blah, and it's much easier to, if you want to build a giant sandcastle to live in, it's a lot easier to create a world where you literally spawn right in a desert with everything you need, versus get on the world you currently play on, assuming you don't already live in a desert, have to track one down and travel there, and hopefully it's close by, because if it's not, then you have the long traveling distance, and you have to remember where it is, and there's greater risk of losing valuable things along the way, and it's a mess. But so in a way, it makes sense to have lots of worlds for every little thing you might. Of course, it differs from person to person, but the funny thing is, despite the fact that that's just kind of what automatically happened with me and has been happening, I really decided I don't like it, because for some reason, I guess there's two main reasons actually why I apparently don't like having lots of worlds when I'm playing Minecraft, like lots and lots of worlds. One is more practical, like if you have so many worlds that you have to keep scrolling down and down to try and find the one you're wanting to play, it's easy to forget what you're even trying to do on any one of the worlds, and what the heck was this world for? And if you are like me and you think, oh, I've got a big brain, I'll just remember everything because I don't want to write down everything I need to remember, I'll just magically remember. It's not like I don't ever leave reminders, but I don't want to go to all the effort of having to write it down on paper, because apparently I'm just too good for that. But regardless, you can forget, and you can even pop on a world thinking, oh, I'll remember, and it's 2 years later, and you have no idea what the world's supposed to be. You're totally clueless. Even your hints that you might have left yourself may have faded from memory as to their actual significance. So you either delete the world or you just forget about it. And that little counter that says when you last played the world ends up saying eventually, played a long time ago. So, practical reason, I just don't like it because, you try a project, you get burnt out, you stop playing the world, you try new projects, and it clutters up, it just, you forget. Also, the more worlds you have, the more space they take, and right now I've got, compared to what I used to have, oodles of space. I could have pretty much as many worlds as I want, and they could be humongous. Relatively speaking. But back in the day, I didn't have near that much space. So, every megabyte, every gigabyte especially, was precious to me. So, it's also just practical not to have lots of worlds and pursue lots of ideas, at least at once, because you literally just can't fit it all on your device. And if you don't have lots of, money to buy a new one, or buy more storage to put it somewhere else, well, you're kind of stuck. So that was part of the reason I don't like having a lot of worlds. Another one's just more of like a quirk of mine. Just, I didn't like the way it looked. Like, I didn't like the cluttered way it made my menu screen look. It was just a stupid look. Well, was, rather say is, because I don't think it's gone, but it's just this feature of mine. I just don't like the way it makes it looks disorganized and kind of ugly to me to see all those worlds there and all their lines of text, and it's not like Mojang's fault or anything like, oh, they should really make their world list neater so you can actually understand what you're looking at. It's not really that. It's just my own thing of like, there's all these worlds and I have to scroll for ages to try and find this one. So that one wasn't so practical, but it was another reason. And so I didn't like having lots of worlds. But also, back to more the practical side, I noticed this pattern of mine where, you get an inspiration, you go after it, you burn out from it, and for my reasons of not liking lots of worlds, whatever they may be, you end up deleting the world, or just maybe an accident happens and it gets lost. And that's kind of stinky because if you care about history, I like history. It's not necessarily my favorite subject, but I do like it. I think it's important and even fun to learn about. But if you care about history, you start getting perhaps a nostalgic feeling 5 years down the road, like, oh yeah, I had that one world, and we did this and that, and that was so much fun. I wish I could go back and play that again. It kind of stinks to lose all that history. So I came up with an idea of how I could address this situation, because to me it really was a problem. I think I viewed it as a problem. Like, it's ugly, takes up space, it's not practical, but on the flip side, I lose history if I delete all that. And so, what am I supposed to do? Well, I came up with this idea. To satisfy my requirements for, wanting one thing that it's going to be hard to forget, because it's all you focus on, really. It's this one world, or one or two worlds, and also for the neatness of the menu screen. That's the really important one. Is to cram every idea, every pursuit I might have within the game, instead of having lots of worlds dedicated to them, put them all in one world. And of course, the trick with that is, well, that means a lot more effort, because, like I said, like I've pointed out, if I want to go suddenly on a whim, make a sandcastle, well, maybe I don't live in a desert. I might have to go find one. And Then again, the travel back and forth and the safety issue. Well, this game really is very customizable. And even if you are like me and you mostly want to stick to the vanilla experiment, or the experience, I should say, I think, well, that's understandable that, oh, I don't want to, it's like, well, if you care about it enough, and you want it to look really cool, which is another benefit, if you stick it all in one world, it could look pretty cool. Like, you could make a pretty impressive world for yourself with lots of memories. Honestly, sorry about that. If it means that much to you, like, just do it. You know, who cares if it takes some effort? You know, maybe that's good for you. Maybe that'll teach you some patience, and that'll allow you to move on to bigger, greater things. Because, see, another thing I've noticed, not so much about myself, but just about this game in general, is a lot of people seem to, you know, really be impatient. And I suppose that's understandable, because you want to have fun, you want to do what you want to do, and you want to do it now. You didn't come to the game to have another, you know, job where you have to really work and put effort into it. But at the same time, it's like, well, half of the things you're saying are bad in the game. Like, for instance, take fishing, for example. People say, you know, oh, fishing sucks. You have to sit there forever and blah, 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 and you don't even get that good of stuff or whatever. It's like, well, is it really that bad, or are you just so used to, you know, moving around everywhere that you can't take a moment to sit still and, you know, just try and get into it, enjoy it. Or, on top of that, maybe make it work for you. Like, you know, I do have it on me, so there's this tool. This is a little side note, kind of history thing. This is asset number 1, the second. The reason it's the second is because there was a first fishing rod that was pretty much exactly the same as this, but it got destroyed, and I'll talk more about that later. But point is, this fishing rod, you look at it, it's got some pretty good enchantments, especially with the mending. The mending's a big one, because that means as long as you use it, you'll literally never have to make another one again. But the others, the unbreaking, and especially the luck of the sea and the lure, those are really good. They actually allow you to not only catch lots of fish, which is renewable source of food, plus you can use it for certain pets and whatnot, but you can get lots of trash items, which, yeah, they're trash, but I mean, it's another way you can get, you know, sticks or leather boots. So, I mean, if you really need something, at least you can get it. You get large quantities of it too, but also lots of treasure. Like, I'll have to show you sometime. This world, because it's an old world, without cheats, does not have access to, you know, enchantment tables, and therefore not really access to enchantments. However, because you can fish enchanted books out of the water, especially if you've got a really good fishing rod like this one, I have amassed quite a collection of enchanted books just from fishing. Like, I think it pays off. And speaking of making it work for you, not only is like it about making an efficient fishing rod in this case, but, you know, pick a time where you want to make some progress in the world, but you have to do something pretty soon, and so maybe you only have half an hour, or just an hour, or, you know, maybe a day where you don't really want to do much, like you're not feeling that much inspiration, anything creative. Well, just take that time you have and just sit by the pond and keep clicking the button to fish, and you can make it work for you. Hopefully that made sense. I've kind of lost my train of thought. This is going to be a common occurrence, so fair warning. Not just in this video. Basically every video. But, point I'm trying to make is, a lot of people are, it seems like they're impatient, It's all about how fast you can do it, Let's make these humongous automatic farms, so we can grind iron or beef or whatever, have mass amounts of it. And I've done some of that myself, honestly, I have. And it's nice, it is. But, I mean, it kind of takes away from the experience, or at least it provides a different experience. And to treat it like the other experience isn't worth going through, well, I just don't agree with that. But I think it can make it a lot more meaningful if, for instance, you take the time to do something the hard way than to just do as fast as possible, because then every little percent that you do of some project is just that much more valuable. For instance, I could have gone into creative mode and just, I could have gone on a website and just looked up someone else's design for a lighthouse, and I could have either downloaded the design and used a structure block in creative mode to paste it right here, or I could have just copied it in creative mode. But I didn't do either of those. I just kind of, with this design, how good it is or not, I don't think it's spectacular, but it's something. I did it myself. I just kind of used my imagination. I did use some reference materials, but I didn't copy a design. I just did my own thing. And there's nothing wrong with looking at someone else's design and being like, well, I like that. Let's try that style, but maybe add a little bit of this or tweak a little bit of that. That's not wrong. I'm talking about just be like copy paste boom. You can do that. I mean, you can do whatever the heck you want, but I think there's more value in taking the time and doing everything with your bare hands, so to speak. And that's a big part of the idea of this world, is taking the time, going slow, which is not easy even for me, especially because, I want to do this, I want to do it right now, but I'm also kind of want to do things right, but I'm also kind of perfectionist, so it's like a three-way tug of so, but I want to do that because I think it can make things look a lot nicer and better if you force yourself to put some effort into it, and like I said, more memorable, more valuable than if you just fill XYZ to XYZ, boom, done. So, I just thought, going back to the main idea of this world, I thought, okay, so I want to just have this one world where the idea is I take my time and I enjoy it for as long as I can. I really build this world up like, some other YouTubers have done, or just people playing the game, period. They make these humongous worlds and do all kinds of builds, and they end up being so big that they have to fly around using Elytra just to get from place to place conveniently. But I never have really had a world that lasted several years. I've had worlds that have lasted much, much longer than others. Some only last a couple days, and some have lasted maybe a year. Maybe half a year, something. That's a fair amount of time, but I've never had one that's literally I've been playing it since I started the game and I'm still playing it now. I've never had one of those, and I never will, because, well, the beginning of the game is far gone now. But I'd still I still wanted to have a world that's I just sit down and I play this world and I play it to death. I play it and make it awesome. I really dedicate all my time to it. So there was that one idea. I want to make this big, cool world, but not just, big and cool. I want it to be a little bit different than I see most people doing, because, I, for one, don't want to have all these bunches of automatic farms if I can, help it. I'm not saying I'm completely against, automation and redstone. It's just I want to really think this through. Take the time to make it as good as I possibly can. Of course, there's a point where you have to say, okay, it's just not practical if I have to spend, 6 hours a day just to get, this one thing done. Especially if, I have other things I need to get done with my life. So, like more immediate, more pressing matters, like gotta eat. So that's kind of a big top priority. But the thing is, if you intend to make a world last a long time, then it's okay if you can't play it for a while, because you're dedicated. You're gonna come back, and whenever you get a chance, play it some more, and over time it will eventually grow to be very big. Of course, there is this technicality with, having to understand the difference between, oh, I made this world 5 years ago, therefore the world's 5 years old, versus I've literally played the world for the amount of time equivalent to 5 years. Like, that's versus the world has existed on my device 5 years, versus I have logged this many hours and on the game, actually, playing, and it amounts to 5 years of game time. So, that is to say, I've had this world since 2019. That doesn't mean I've actually been literally playing on it for the amount of time, about 1.5 years. No, it's if I were to put all the play time in a line and count it up, it'd probably be more like, maybe 3 months, couple of months, maybe 3.5 months, 4 months, maybe not 4 months, but 3.5 maximum, which that's not near as long as 1.5 years, but it's still a long time, especially considering other worlds I've played. But this world, I wanted to make it my main world, in a sense, my last survival world. Not like, once I'm done playing this world, I'm done playing Minecraft, I'm never touching it again, but just more like, I make this world, and I am dedicated to this world until I stop playing it, and only then will I perhaps make new survival worlds to play on. The exceptions are like, if I do multiplayer stuff and whatnot, but I've never been big on servers. I just either couldn't access them or didn't really want to, just kind of enjoyed my own lonesome time. And even, multiplayer, like, I've played multiplayer games, with family and friends, but until more recently, it's kind of been few and far in between. Again, similar reasons, like, I couldn't or didn't want to, they couldn't or didn't want to, or we just literally didn't have the ability. So, I've been playing mostly single-player survival for a long time. We've done creative stuff too, of course. In fact, I think most of my people I know who've been playing the game have started in creative and then eventually transitioned to survival most of the time. But I've done survival for a long time, single player, and that's mostly what I've done. That's what I'm used to. And I've been doing it lots of different ways, seeing what other people have done, copying them, maybe trying slightly different things. I'm not certain what I'm good at, but I'll tell you what I'm not good at. I am not the best at PvP, just because, I'm no Sky Wars, Bed Wars player, don't do that stuff. And this world, like, I've been playing on it for so long, and just focusing on this world, the side effect is I've kind of gotten rusty at what skills of PvP I've had. And the reason for that is it's been on peaceful, and to make a long story short, that just makes the process of what I'm doing with this world right now a lot more practical and easy than if I were to have to constantly deal with hostile threats. But because I haven't been fighting anything very much, I've kind of lost my skill. So I'm really down on my skill right now. But also, I didn't do a lot of PvP, period. There are very rare occasions. So I'm not the most combatant. Am I a good builder? Well, I try. I'm probably not the best. My build style is whatever, basically. So I try a little bit of this, try a little bit of that. Make them flat sometimes, make them more, have more depth other times. But regardless, that is part of what's led me to here now. The other thing, which I'll try to make this a lot shorter because we've already been chatting for like half an hour without really doing much. The other thing is, and this gets more into the explanation of what this world even is. So this is an old world, but what I'm doing is I had this idea, and there's many reasons for why I had this idea, but I'm just going to explain the idea itself right now. Is I wanted to generate a old world with a little village in it, and I wanted to expand that village throughout the entire whole world. So like it would, so that it would be like a big, huge mega village, or maybe even you could just call it a city, throughout the entire span of the whole world. And I wanted this city to be walled so that A, for looks, but B, this is the big part, is that once I finished expanding it throughout this entire space, what I wanted to do is, as soon as the entire village was complete, I wanted to transition from playing on an old world to an infinite world by going onto the old world with the big huge village and pressing the Make Infinite button. And that, if I did everything right, would basically take this old world, wall, city and all, and plop it right into a section of the old world. And what they would essentially be then is this infinite world. I might have said old, I meant infinite. This big infinite world with this giant walled city right in the middle of it. And these walls would already be here to protect from hostile mobs and particularly raids, because once this village is done and I go to the infinite world, we're going out of peaceful. We're going to have mobs again. So the main purpose of the wall would be to protect from hostile mobs, and additionally, separately, to try and protect from raids. How that's going to play out, I have yet to see, because the technications, I guess that's how you would say it, the technicalities, that's the way you would say it, the technicalities of defending against raids is a little bit more complex and involved than just defending against hostile mobs. And spoiler alert, this right here is the wall. This is the wall. It's a big wall. Yeah, I didn't want a little short, oh, it's 3 blocks tall and like 2 blocks wide wall. No, I wanted a real wall. Like, you can't even climb, you can't even launch dynamite over this wall if you wanted to. That's relatively speaking, not literally. You probably could if you want to, but this wall is not designed to handle player attacks. Anyway, I guess while I'm speaking about it, I should give you a closer look and stop standing up here. So, basically anywhere you are in this world, you can see the wall. This big wall. So, it's supposed to defend against hostile mobs by, you build this humongous city and you light it up, the entire world, which is quite a monumental task, because now that there's drowns, that means the lakes and rivers also need to be lit up so no drowns will spawn in them. But you build this whole city, you light it up so nothing can spawn in it, you build a wall around it, everything spawns outside the city and nothing can get in because there's this massive wall in the way. There's only a few exceptions that of creatures that could possibly get inside the village, and that is phantoms, because they fly and they just stay in the air and they can come right down and swoop in, but they're not a real threat to the villagers. Endermen, because they can just teleport through the wall. Like, this wall's thick, but it's not that thick. If you wanted to prevent them from teleporting, like, this wall is 5 blocks thick. That's nice, but I don't think it's enough to stop Endermen from teleporting. If you wanted to stop them, it'd have to be thicker. But anyway, Endermen also aren't really a threat to the village. The worst they could do is, hurt me, or maybe steal a block. But they're rare enough. It's not even really an issue. And the third, really the only third threat I'm concerned with is the raiders. Those are the biggest threat because, zombies come in and can attack villagers, so they're a big threat too, but this wall and adequate lighting should take care of that. But the raiders are a bit more challenging because they don't just base their spawning mechanics upon light, although it turns out, if I'm not mistaken, they do partially base upon light. They also base their mechanics upon just like how far they are in relation to the village. And it so turns out that while they generally try to spawn on the outskirts of the village, they can sometimes spawn inside the village, which is an issue, at least on Bedrock. Java, I don't think it's quite the same, but here, the idea was fill out the village so that they can't generate in here and light it up so they really can't generate in here, and then put a wall so they come up to the wall and they're stuck, they can't do anything, and then I can just pick them off. Problem is, there's a couple problems. Like I said, there's the potential for them to generate inside the village unless it's really, really tightly packed, like villagers and beds everywhere. And even then, I'm kind of still trying to familiarize myself with the mechanics, and it seems like no one's absolutely certain of how they work anyway, so it's a little janky. So even if I try and tightly pack them, they could still end up spawning in here. But tightly packing them makes it more difficult anyway, because that means there's more work to do before I can let loose and go to the infinite world and define tightly packed. That looks tightly packed, but maybe they should be closer or something. But there's also the possibility, something I learned from the little bit of testing I've done, is if you do it right, you could actually just straight out cancel the raid. So like if the raid as like the situation, not so much the entities, but the raid, if the raid can't find a place to put down the actual raiders, the raid will just stop, and it won't happen at all. It'll just cancel itself out. So there's a possibility if I build this right, not only will they be stuck outside the walls, but they flat out just won't appear because they'll be stuck, not having anywhere to generate within the village. Of course, if the raid starts like way over here or something, they might be able to spawn outside of the wall. But if it's like way in the center, like they'll probably just cancel themselves out, assuming I construct this place correctly, and that's a monumental task, especially when you don't have all the information you need. But this wall, that is the primary purpose of this wall, is to protect against hostile mobs, particularly raids, zombies, all the zombie variants, because those are the main threats. And the rest that they keep out is just added bonus. So, I said I'm not going to give a world tour, and I'm not really, but I will, because I'm talking about this wall, give a little bit more in-depth view of what I'm doing here. So as I said, this wall is 5 blocks thick. It's right on the edge of the world. So like the inside is the limits of where I can build, and that way when this is plopped to the infinite world, the edge of this world will literally be this edge of the wall, and the rest of the world will just be way out that way. So there's 2 levels. This level is Mostly, it's kind of so you can look around and see what's going on, but I was particularly thinking that, you know, if there are mobs crowding up against the wall, you can get a bow and arrow and just shoot them from here. So, there's that. The second level is up here, and it's not finished completely. It's mostly done, but I'm still working on it. And this is the upward part where you just walk around and patrol, basically. It's not finished because everything is done except this floor part, which the wall is, your feet are supposed to be at this level, but for most of the wall they're here because I haven't got enough of this yet. I have a stonemason villager who I buy this black glazed terracotta from 5 at a time, and it's usually only 5 every day that he has in stock, so it's a very slow process, but I'm gradually going to work my way all around the wall with this terracotta, and I think it fits. Maybe it's kind of tacky or ugly, I don't know, but I like it, so that's what we're doing. And besides, part of the idea of this wall is that if you're going to spend so long on it and put so much value into it, you might as well go all the way and not halfway. What I mean by that is, besides these towers, which you can climb up in, I'll show you that while I'm talking. Besides these towers and both of these floors, the wall is completely solid. It's not hollow. It's absolutely filled in. So that means that there's a lot of cobblestone in this wall. There's lots of granite and gonna be lots of black terracotta, and there's a good amount of torches too, but mostly this wall is cobblestone, and there is a lot of cobblestone in that. I have been mining, if you can't tell, for a long time. None of this was placed in creative mode. This was all survival, no cheats. I've dedicated myself to not using cheats on this world because of how I want to play this world. But for some reason, achievements are turned off. I don't know what I did to do that, but it's kind of stinky because I can't earn achievements in this world now, but at least that saves achievement hunting for other worlds like multiplayer, so that's cool. But anyway, I've got enough cobblestone in this world to have earned the achievement chest full of cobblestone like 30 times over, maybe more than that. Like literally, I've filled, I believe, how many is it? Let's see, 30. I'd say I've filled at least 35 large chests full of cobblestone to build this wall, which means for long periods of time all I've been doing is mining and mining and mining. To give you a better scale of that, obviously you can stare at the wall, but I need to show you somewhere else where I spent a lot of time, particularly on this wall. So I've been mining so much cobblestone that I've practically used it for nothing else for the longest time. So it's become a very valuable resource to me because of how much I needed. And so because of that, I wanted to use granite and the black glazed terracotta. The black glazed terracotta is obvious because, you know, I buy it from this guy, and without cheating, there's literally, this is stonemason, by the way. How you doing? Oh wait, no, it's not this guy. Where is he? He must have switched working stations. Thought I saw him over here. Anyway, oh, this is the guy. I think it's this guy. Yeah, this is the man. See, he needs to find somewhere to work. This poor guy. Really, all the villagers, they're having a time, you know, keeping consistent sleeping places and working places. But he is literally the only way, without cheating, I can get black glazed terracotta in this world, because I just don't have large access to clay Like, there's some in the rivers, that's how I've got, like, these bricks and whatnot. Also, the masons sell bricks, but there's just not that much. And there's no mesa around here, so I literally have to buy every piece of terracotta from him, which means every piece of terracotta costs an emerald. So every block of that road is literally an emerald. So I'm literally paving the wall with emeralds to make it look nice. Now, the reason I say the granite is valuable is because although there's lots of it, plenty of it underground, and I have lots of it still stowed away, is that same stonesmith, or stonemason, I mean, that I showed you, sells about a stack and, a quarter's worth, or he'll buy a stack and a quarter's worth of granite for like 5 emeralds. So that is also literally emeralds being paved there, although it's in smaller amounts, so it's not as valuable as the black terracotta. So I wanted to make sure something this monumental, this is, I think, literally the biggest build I've ever done, is this wall. Something this monumental, I wanted it to speak expensive in its name. But anyway, the place I want to show you is the mines where I've collected all this cobblestone. While I'm on the way there, I'll give you a little bit more history by showing you the tool that's been used to mine most of the cobblestone for this wall. So, this is Wall Builder. Wall Builder, I've had for maybe half a year-ish. It's gotten a breaking 3, mending 1, efficiency 4. It's not bad. It's actually pretty good. It's not the best, but it's pretty good. I needed Wall Builder very, very bad. Because I started mining here. And let me just show you. This is where I started mining cobblestone for the wall. Every one of these, except for a few, goes to each end of the world and stops. I just started mining lots and lots of cobblestone. And back then, I was just using, like, iron pickaxes and torches, or, well, yeah, I've always used torches, but I was just using iron pickaxe upon iron pickaxe. I'm constantly having to remake them because I just mined so much that they just kept breaking. And that ended up using a lot of iron. And I just wanted to be able to mine faster because I thought, oh my gosh, I'm never going to be able to finish this wall very fast because of how slow this is and how often I have to stop and get more tools. So I thought it would be really nice if I could just have one pickaxe that I absolutely use to death and never make another one, to just mine and mine and mine and mine. And so I made Wall Builder, diamond pickaxe, of course. How I made it is tricky because, you know, first I had to go down to diamond level and get diamonds. That's nothing too new, but how did I get mending on it? Well, the fishing, because if I wanted to, you know, make this idea work, the pickaxe needed to have mending so I could just repair it with XP whenever it was about finished. And the unbreaking helps too, and the efficiency as well, but the mending was the really big key thing. If nothing else, I needed that. However, I don't have access to an enchantment table, and, you know, the only way I can get enchanted books is fishing. And it so turns out that yes, you can get mending books by fishing, but only on really rare occasion. Even with a rod that's decked out with Luck of the Sea 3 and Lure 3, it's really rare. One of the rarest drops. But it was possible. So, I spent a long time fishing, and let me tell you, mending pickaxe was not the only good thing I got out of that deal. Like, I'll tell you about spending lots of time fishing and all the goodies it can give you. But I eventually, after, I don't know, several days, a week or two, and not going at it straight for a week, but like an hour every day, maybe 3 hours every day, 1 or 2 hours every day for like a week, I eventually did get it. So I put it on this pickaxe, and I mean that made the whole process a lot faster. But little did I know that I was seriously underestimating how much cobblestone this wall was going to take. So if you're thinking these mines don't look proportionate to how big the wall is, you're right, because these aren't the only mines. I needed more, and I needed to make bigger mines, so I decided to go deep down. And the reason for that is not actually because I was running out of space up there, although that's kind of true. Not really, though. I could always make them bigger, but the reason I went down here is because that's where all the good ores are. That's where all the variety is, where you can get lots of XP. And I needed that because this pickaxe has mending, and it bases, you know, repairing itself off of the XP you put into it. I did trade a lot, and that was like a big part of how I repaired XP on this thing. Was I'd have to stop when it got low enough and go up and trade, and that really makes a difference for repairing this thing. But if I could not repair it with the ores, I could at least slow the wear and tear on this pickaxe by mining ores that give me lots of XP. So I wanted to mine down here, way deep down underground, so that I could mine for a really long time before needing to stop and repair this pickaxe. And it was a good decision. It really helped. Anyway, these are pretty small mines. I haven't really done anything with them yet because I was just digging up here for gold, really. But this is where things got real. So I come down here, and we got the same thing end to end, but we come this way. You've got a row of 2, you've got a row of 3, you've got a row of 2, you've got a row of 3, all this way, and there's not near as much space between them as there was before. Or it just comes all this way until the edge of the world. But that's not even the biggest part. I stopped doing that at a certain point, and when I came in this direction, I changed my method a little bit, and I decided to go just straight to 3 by 3s, and just I mined out this huge section as well, like just all the way down there. All the way down there are 3 by 3s, and I went straight from there all the way down there, and stopped at a certain point, and then I decided to come back with the second pass, and that's why these ones are just 3 by 3s, and then you come to one of these, and it's actually deeper, and that's because I made it all the way down there, and then I came back with the second pass and carved it deeper, so there's this big long hallway all the way down there. And I stopped here because that's when I didn't need any more cobblestone for the wall, and I'll probably come back here again sometime, but for now I'm fine. So I was working on the second pass here, and at this one point, because, you know, even going at this speed and mining this much cobblestone at once, it can get a little kind of tiring to do the same thing over and over again. So you find any little way you can to speed up the process of mining and maybe make it a little bit more interesting, whether it's just a faster method of mining or playing some music in the background to enjoy yourself and distract from it. And I certainly found some ways to improve mining. But one of the things I tried was to make this one big mine shaft that was humongous, bigger than any of the others. And I only made one because, wow, it was really big. This is the 5 by 5, except now it's actually like a 5 by 10 because I also did a second pass, but it's actually deeper than these ones. This is the biggest one I ever made, and let me tell you, even with this pickaxe, it took a long time to get through all this. Like, it's just row after row after row you happen to chop through, and it's a very big space down here. So if I ever want to do something, some idea, some weird thing down here, I've got a nice big long space for it. But I haven't been down here in a while, The only thing I've really done is come down here to see if there's any wandering traders that are lost down here that I can get some cool stuff out of. So, all this and more went to the wall. Every single piece of cobblestone. Until, like, I stopped building the wall. And it was basically when I stopped there when I had basically finished, or got enough for the wall to finish it. Just all this and all that up there. Every single scrap. I did not waste one piece of cobblestone if I couldn't. It all went to the wall. And building the wall was also a time-consuming process, just placing the blocks, because it's a 256 by a 256 world. So, granted, it's just along the edges, but 5 blocks thick, and how tall is the wall? It's like, oh, I actually don't remember. It's actually not quite as tall, or at least the floor of the wall isn't quite as tall as I was originally going to make it, but it's honestly tall enough. I mean, what are you trying to keep out of a Titan? Anyway, I think I was originally planning to make it like, what? 116, 120? I don't remember for certain. I'll just pop into it really quick to check how tall it is. So, ground level here, and the height of the wall depends on, like, how tall the ground is around the wall. But here, the ground's at, like, y equals 68-ish. That's like an average for that area. So 68, we're already at 78. Believe me, we'll hit 88. 88. 98. So over here, at least, the wall is over 30 blocks tall, and that's not including the tower height. The tower height makes it a lot taller, but originally the floor was going to be like at y equals 116. The towers are past that, but this was tall enough, and to stop myself from going completely insane, like, it wasn't really necessary to go any taller. And I didn't build it this tall just to, you know, show off, be like, oh look, my wall's so big, you know, and it's just so cool. It was also, like, part of me was happy to build a really cool big wall, but practically I needed the wall this big because one thing I've been having to think about is, when I do make this world infinite, what's the terrain around the wall gonna look like? Because the terrain this wall is gonna be in is not by any means flat. It varies in height, but certain parts of the wall have land around them that are much taller than others. And so I needed basically to find the nearest piece of land to the wall that was the tallest piece of land near the wall as well, and judge how tall the wall needed to be off of that for, you know, defense purposes. Because if the wall ends like right here, or if the terrain level stops right there, but on the other side of the wall, maybe mobs can't get over it, but it's not like skeletons can't shoot at you, or it's just not as safe. A creeper could walk up here and they might blow a hole in the wall, and then you're in trouble. So I needed it to be tall enough to have reasonable high ground above them. More than reasonable even, perhaps. But I decided I didn't need it to be, you know, 21 blocks taller or whatever. So I stopped it here, and it looks fine. I like it. It looks really cool. It'll be done when this road wraps all the way around, and also technically it'll be done once we're in the infinite world, because I have to add on, I have to carry this theme around these other two faces of the towers. I can't do that because I have no access to this part of the world yet. And also I'll have to make some nitpicky changes, like, because well, parts of the wall may be higher than the terrain outside the wall by a significant bit, which means what I'm saying is, like, if I based how high the wall needed to be over there on how high the terrain is, then the bottom of the wall would actually be right there, when over here it would be down here. So from here it looks fine, but outside the wall, on the other side I should say, if the wall stops there, that means there's this whole chunk of dirt you could just mine through to get in here. And that's not really a threat for mobs, but for safety's sake and for continuity's sake, I want to go outside the wall once it's infinite and find little places like that and patch them up so it's all nice and neat and safe. Because the terrain outside the wall does vary quite a bit. So, this is the wall. The nice big wall that I built with my wall builder. All by myself. Just me. No help whatsoever. So, that's this place. And have I even finished talking about this world yet? So, once this, again, I'll just repeat, once this world is finished expanding and past phase 1, which phase 1 is basically that I complete this village, expand it how big I want it, and build the wall around it, and it's ready, it's done, it's complete. That's phase 1, it's the village. Once phase 1 is done, I hit the make infinite button and move on to phase 2, which I've got lots of plans for the world after that, because I essentially want this to be a really cool mega village build where I also live, and it's kind of like my home slash base, but it's also a village. My home literally is inside a village. And if you want to be technical, that is my home and my base. And we'll talk about it later. But I think of this whole village as my home. So, once the infinite world is made, I've got lots of ideas for projects I want to do. But I can always come back here to resupply, stock, you know, be safe, enjoy myself, and trade, lots of trading. Business is booming. There's lots of that, I can assure you, and there's way more to come. One of the things I want to do that keeps with this whole one world where I do everything I could ever want to do in that world, and I don't create more worlds to do it, is whatever adventures I want to make up and whatever inspirations come to me, yeah, I'll do those in this world. But one of the things I definitely know I want to do is I want to essentially, whatever builds I make, I want to space them out throughout the world. I don't want them to all be crammed in here or even around outside the wall. I want it to be like, I guess a good example is, think of like how ancient Rome was, or like the Empire of Rome. How, you know, there was one big city, and that was Rome, the capital. But then there were all these cities and places throughout multiple countries that were now under this one empire, and there were all these roads that went out there to these places, these cities, that you could walk along, and they connected them. I'm not saying I'm literally trying to build Rome. I think it's obvious enough. This ain't no Rome. But I want to, whatever builds and things I make, I want them to be spaced out way throughout the world. And out of necessity, some of them will, because again, like, back to the sandcastle metaphor. If I want to build a sandcastle, I have to go find a desert. And that desert may be far away, so it's practical to have a road, at least, if not a minecart trail, or flying with elytra, or boating there or something, at least to have a path to run out there or ride a horse out there. So, some of the things I want to build that I know I want to build are, I have this list. of all the historical houses I've ever like built for bases and lived in. I just sat down and I listed off. I tried to recall from memory all the worlds I've had, the bases and houses I've built, because, you know, nostalgia, good old days, feel, blah blah blah. I wish I could see them again. And I'm like, you know what? Let's make it happen. So once I'm done working on this village, one of the things I'll do is go out and build those historic houses again. But they won't all be around here. They'll be way spread out and through different parts of the world. Particularly, I'm thinking of using them as kind of like rest stops for, like, if there's somewhere I need to go, like to a desert, if there's some reason I need to go to a desert, or just some area where there's a big project site going on, or even, like, if I, say, need to go to a mesa to mine terracotta, on the way there, I could have a rest stop, and it could be one of the buildings off the historical housing list. And so, all the kinds of houses from years past that I've made to live in and take care of myself with, and all the different worlds I created, I'll make them, and they'll be spread out throughout the world, and they'll be like my cool little builds, and turn this world partially into an archive of my kind of history with the game of sorts. So that's one of the ideas. I've got a lot of other ideas planned, and more will come. Especially, that's one of the ideas, is that more ideas will come, and I'll be able to test out those cool things in this world. But for now, those are one of the bigger things. So the idea with this world is make a big village. Right now we're in phase 1, so we're just focusing on expanding this village. And that's like the big project. It's not, you know, hunting mobs and building diamond armory. It's the village. I'm expanding this village. That's what we're focusing on. And so part of it is resource gathering and construction, like for this wall, or even for just these buildings. Some of them were naturally here, but a lot of them I've built, and eventually that will be most of the village or buildings I've built. And trading is a huge part, and that's just a part of the village that I want to encourage, is trading economy, for lots of reasons, which I won't get too far into. But a cool thing about that is it benefits me. You know, that's another one of those things, like, you know, oh, people are impatient, they don't like to sit and fish. What's so bad about fishing? Well, another thing has been trading. Granted, villagers have gotten a lot more, you know, cool, and, you know, one might even say useful, or whatever, because of the Village and Pillage update with their new trades and professions and yada yada yada. But I never viewed trading as like, you know, oh, that's stupid, it's a waste of time, why would you ever do that, you know. I'm not saying I was trading with villagers all the time, or that, you know, I didn't every once in a while go on a spree of like, oh, let's destroy the village and blow it up because whatever. But I don't really want to do that anymore. I wanted to, it's like, you think, you know, I guess I'm not explaining this really well. It's just, I wanted to see, you know, it seems like to me that a lot of people don't care that much about villagers or villages. Like, they only see what they can get out of them. And to be fair, there's a lot to be, you know, gained by trading. But they basically just, as far as I can tell, haul them away from their villages and make their own little trading things at home by stuffing them into little stalls and basically restraining them. So I thought, well, you know what? What would happen if you did the opposite of that? What if you, instead of stealing them from their village and bringing them to your base and basically using them as a glorified automatic farm. What if you made the village, their village, your base? Not like you transform everything and build it into like a castle and that's where they live, but more like you expand their village, you know, you add your own touch to it and whatnot, but you basically copy their buildings in a sense, one way or another. You can add your own flair to it like I did over there, or here. But you build the village, the housing and the places for the villagers. It's not like you can't go in there and use some of the stuff, but you build it for them to do their village stuff, live their life. And you just expand and expand and expand and expand the village, make it as humongous as possible. And you defend it, you know, with walls and torches and maybe helping the iron golem population and just physically being there to defend it, you know, with your own weapons and armor. And I just wanted to see, you know, like, people seem to not like helping villages. What if you help it, you know? What if you live there? What if you expand it? And trade a lot. Make the trading work for you. Not be like, oh, this man wants, you know, like, he wants 32 sticks for an emerald. That's such a ripoff. It's like, well, actually, that's probably not one of the worst trades, but, you know, I could see, like, people are always saying, like, oh, that's a ripoff. Why would I give you a diamond for an emerald? And it's like, well, I could see that, but I'm not sure if I agree with that. Because, honestly, if you don't have a lot of stuff on you, or you're really attached to all your stuff, or both, especially if it's both, yeah, it might seem like a ripoff. But if you're like me, where you spent oodles of time just mining cobblestone and, say, as a byproduct, getting lots and lots and lots and lots of granite, to the point where instead of, oh, that's a ripoff because, you know, I don't have that much granite to sell, you're like, oh my gosh, could you please, I know you're busy, but please restock as fast as possible because I have so much more granite I want to give to you. Like, you could actually, like I said, work it towards your benefit in a good way, at least what I think is a better way. Take, for instance, like I said, the granite. That's not my only form of income, because there are lots of villagers here. There are farmers, there are fishermen, there are a couple librarians, mostly actually one right now. I haven't had one for a long time. There's armorsmiths, or armorers I should say, toolsmiths, weaponsmiths, fletchers, cartographers, butchers, stonemasons, leatherworkers. There's lots of villagers, which means, and they all have lots of things they can buy and sell you, especially now with this update. So my kinds of income are granite, sugarcane, because guess what? You can make paper with sugarcane, and if you have lots of it, you can sell the paper to cartographers and librarians. Seaweed, because guess what? Butchers love seaweed. A lot of butchers love seaweed, and if you get past their initial trades of meat and coal, which if you've been mining for as long as I have, you have lots of coal and iron. You can give them lots of kelp, and kelp is actually pretty awesome. I'll tell you about that some other time. Or, for instance, the farmers. I have big farms. For a while, my farms easily exceeded the amount of village and like the demand of the village, but just recently I had to upgrade my farms because it was the other way around. The villagers were wanting more crops than I could actually provide, so now I've got more. But you know how many farmers there are? You know how many different types of crops they want? Wheat, pumpkins, melons, carrots, potatoes, beetroot. You know, if you grow all of those and you grow them in mass, like, you have lots of stuff to sell. Additionally, 3 different types of fish. You know, puffer fish. I don't know if this is universal, but I have several fishermen where if I sell them a puffer fish, they gave me 1 emerald. I've acquired lots of pufferfish, despite the fact that most of this world is not an ocean, and there are virtually no pufferfish alive in this world. I've acquired lots of them by fishing, not to mention the salmon and the cod as well. And again, to the seaweed and the sugarcane. And the mining, you've got lots of resources. Who else? Who else is a good example? Armors, because and the toolsmiths and whatnot, because I've been mining for so long, I've stuck with it. I've tried to stay dedicated. I've got lots of coal and iron. So I've been able to sell lots of that and still have lots left over for myself, for my own activities. And once you fully upgrade them and you have lots of villagers that have maxed out their trades, they can easily start returning the effort you've put into them with interest. Like, for instance, let me see if I can find them. Well, everyone's pretty much asleep now. I guess I'll just tell you about them. I have is it a toolsmith, I think? I've been doing business with for a while. I've been doing business with a lot of villagers, obviously. He will sell me diamond hoes for just a couple of emeralds. Just a couple of emeralds. And I mean, to the random stranger wandering into a village, that might seem like a ripoff. But I mean, when you're like me, and you've been stockpiling emeralds for a while, that's not a problem. And I can easily earn well over a stack of emeralds in just a few days just by farming and selling and trading and other stuff. So what's so great about the hoes is people might be like, well, why would you waste diamonds on the hoe? It's like, well, I'm not sure I agree with that, but even if I did, exactly, I don't have to use any diamonds to make a hoe anymore because I can just buy them from the villager. Well, what's so great about a diamond hoe? Well, farming, duh. But with the update that just came out, whatever it was that added all that usefulness to a hoe, where you can tear down leaves really quickly and other plant matter extremely fast, hoes are actually really nice. You would be surprised how many hoes I've used up in this world. A lot. And I'm not talking regular hoes. I'm talking diamond hoes. Like, I've had to buy them over and over and over again. Not to mention, I have some pretty nice weapons and armor that I've acquired just by trading. For instance, this sword, I got that by trading and getting a couple diamond swords with a couple enchantments, and then adding some books that had good enchantments from my mass collection. Yeah, there it is. That's nice, isn't it? And putting them, the ones I wanted, on the sword, and just stacking them on the anvil until I got a nice sword. And here it is. Plus, I got this one. And I got this one mostly just for the silk touch. But I've also got this battle axe, and this battle axe, and I have this armor, which I could get more, but I don't really need it right now because we're in peaceful. I also have this armor. Oh, I must have moved it. Oh, that's right, I moved it up here. This is the Armory. All dyed armor. I dyed none of this armor, I believe. Or I might have dyed one piece, but I bought that from Leatherworkers. And a full suit of chainmail. Like, yeah, maybe it's not that, great. It's no diamond or netherite armor, but it's rare and it's a little difficult to get your hands on. I traded it all. Every piece. I've got an armor that sells every piece of this, or like one or two pieces of it. So and here's the thing. If you, let's use the chainmail for example. If you happen to pick some up over a long period of time by killing mobs that happen to be wearing it, and you eventually repair it enough to where you've got a full suit of repaired chainmail, that's great. But once you use it up, you're back to square zero. That's right, square zero. And you won't see it again for a long time. But guess what? I can buy it new, freshly new, from these armorers whenever I want. However much I want. Just give them some more time to restock if I buy all of their stock immediately. And I can buy more. I literally have a renewable resource of fresh chainmail armor basically forever. The same with diamond hoes, the same with the battle axes. Effectively, even if it's a little bit more effort to, like, you know, combine books and weapons together, I've got infinite access to them. I don't have to go out and gather it myself. Plus, with all the different variety of ways I have of getting emeralds, with all the types of things I can sell, that means I could use the emeralds on multiple different things. So in a way, the work I do has much more diversity and the kind of reward it can give, because, you know, if I farm some wheat normally, well, I've got wheat. All I can make with that is bread, cake, maybe breed some animals, that's it, which is good. But if I sell wheat for emeralds, and then I use those emeralds in trading, I have access to tons of things, especially with these many villagers, and the village is not even close to done yet, so we're gonna have a lot more. I can buy tons of things. Here, take this for example. The Fletcher. Hey there. Look at this. Let me see. Oh, I guess this guy doesn't sell arrows. What he does sell is tipped arrows. Granted, you have to provide emeralds and arrows for them, but that's potions you don't have to make if you're willing to supply the stuff. And if you have a different Fletcher, like I do somewhere, I believe, who will actually sell you arrows, you literally don't have to kill chickens to get feathers. You don't have to spend the time to do that. You don't have to spend the time to get flint out of gravel, which can take forever, as I'm sure many of you know. You don't have to spend the resources to craft a bunch of wood into sticks and then make, you know, a meager supply of arrows, because you're not patient enough to grind them, basically. You could just take the wheat you bought, or you turned into emeralds, and use it to buy stacks upon stacks upon stacks of arrows. You could literally fill up a chest with them and keep going. And even though it's harder to get, say, the weakness tipped arrows, it's a much easier access to them than having to physically, you know, tip them yourself and make the arrows yourself. So you literally have a renewable resource with, once you put initial work into it, compared to just doing it all on your own, it's surprisingly low effort. So all I'm saying, basically, for about the past few minutes, is the benefit is that if you become a businessman, you can still have easy quality of life because of all the things you can buy. That's a great benefit of it. But also, I've lost my train of thought. Give me a second. My train of thought. Well, I don't remember. Anyway, if you trade a bunch, if you put in the effort, then you have quality of life, and it's literally right there. Like it's just. I really wish I remember what I was gonna say next. My next really big point. Anyway, I'll just leave it off at that. It's just a really good system, in my opinion, and I wasn't even initially planning it like, ooh, so this is a better calculation to, like, sit on my butt for longer than anyone else could, because, you know, if I do X, Y, and Z, I could just sit on my buttocks and have all these night resources stream into me from all these villagers. I was just thinking, you know, I'd like to trade and see how it goes, and maybe enjoy it, a little different method that people really don't seem to care for, and basically show them like, well, I think you're wrong, but whatever. And in the process I discovered, hey, wow, there's actually something to this, you know, trading and like en masse, focusing on it. Because here's an idea. When I am done expanding this village and I go off to do other things, I will have lots of resources at my disposal. Like, for instance, the arrows. I won't have to make those to go and fight mobs with. Or, for instance, one of the things the stonemasons sell me is quartz, a type of quartz block. I don't have to go all the way to the nether and make those if I don't want to. I can just resource them from here. How about something more practical? Well, bread. You could make your bread. You can also buy bread. Maybe apples. There's a lot. If you want to make lots of golden apples, you could just go chop down a bunch of trees. But the farmers will just sell you apples. So much greater access and easier access to apples than you would probably normally have with less effort and time. Let's see. Librarian's a good example. This librarian does not sell bookshelves. He does sell glass, though. That's really nice, especially in a world like this where sand is limited supply. I could just buy all the glass I need from him and make windows for whatever I need. So that's sand you don't have to go and collect. That's coal you don't, or fuel otherwise you don't have to use to put in the furnace to turn it into glass. But additionally, the bookshelves. Bookshelves are really useful. A, nice decorations, but B, enchantment tables. And they take some time to make. Everyone knows that. Like, unless you've got a really nice looting sword, it takes forever to get all that leather, and even then, you're not guaranteed to get it all you need in just a few swings. And sugarcane also takes a long time to get your hands on to make all that paper. Excuse me. You're gonna have to excuse me a second time. What was I saying? Oh yeah, bookshelves. If you can just buy them from the villager, which the plan is to hopefully one day I'll have a librarian who I can, because I can't from this guy yet, but once I can, I'll have bookshelves galore. Much easier because he does all the work of making them, so I just buy them from him. Much easier, much better time spent to me, because I can do something that's readily available, like harvest my crops and get the bookshelves really fast. So hopefully, point taken. I try not to beat the horse to death, but I had some ideas. I like this. Hopefully you are understanding a bit why, or at least what has led me to do all this, and you maybe see or understand some of the benefits I see in it. Regardless, this world is what I'm going to be focusing on in Minecraft for a considerable time. Basically, I'm planning to do this for many years to come. That there might end up being a video here or there on the channel that is still Minecraft, but it's something a little different. But mostly, the majority of it is going to be this. So, I'll explain more as we go on. More shall be revealed, and hopefully make more sense. But I think for now, I'm going to leave it at that. So, we have, about half an hour left. I suppose I'll just kind of show you how I do things by just basically getting into it and doing things. So, other than just running around and blabbing. And you may notice a significant decrease in the amount of words that are coming out of my mouth in a few seconds, because that's just me focusing on the task at hand. So, here we go. What was I doing last time? That's first order of business. Crops, path. I won't be completely silent, and and I'll address you sometimes, but I'm focusing. Just so you know. Tree farms, those are the big deals. Kelp farm. I will check on the smokers real quick, and then we'll probably head to the tree farm. Tree farm's a big deal, because a lot of wood is required in all of this. And granted, most of these houses I've been building have been made out of a stone variant. So, they don't need near as much wood as these houses, and especially these houses, are gonna need. So I need to have, if I can, a way to get lots of wood to supply the needs of this village, which I don't know that I'm actually going to be able to get adequate enough amounts of wood to supply the needs as this village keeps growing, but I at least need some. So luckily, if I'm not mistaken, I have access to every type of wood in this world, and I want to make a farm for each if I can. But I have to balance that with making sure there's enough village that the raiders don't get in. So, we're checking the smokers. Okay. So, kelp is dried kelp, that is a really good fuel source. It's actually much better than coal. And the good thing about kelp is that you can eat it, you can burn it for fuel, and you can sell it for emeralds, so it's extremely useful. So I'm basically using kelp to burn more kelp, and basically earning more kelp than I burn until I have tons of kelp for fuel, and basically replacing coal with kelp, because kelp is much more renewable and much more readily available than coal is right now, even with all the mining I've done. So that is what is going on. Nope, this one. And I'll just go ahead while I'm here. Let's see, we got 4, 3, 3, oh, 4. 4. And then we'll go. Go eat. Go eat. And go eat. And while I'm here, I'll get some more kelp going. Like this. And pop down here and get some more kelp. Kelp grows really fast. It's another really good resource. Oh, if I'm gonna do this, it helps to have my respiration cap, because there is just so much kelp down there. You have to stay underwater for a while. It helps to be able to breathe a bit longer. you ever seen so much kelp floating before? Tell me if you have. Alright, this helps. Speed. Oh, I've run out of room. Okay. Yummy, yummy. Dead. I'm running out of room everywhere. Do I need these? No, I shouldn't need these. Boom. Oh well, I guess if I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna do this too. Yeah. Beans. Egg. More. More. I think that's all of it. Whew. Yeah. Now, do I need to replant any? Oh, maybe some dar. Yeah. Might have missed one, but I think we're good. Let me reassure you, that will grow back very, very fast. Pretty much faster than I can harvest it. Okay. While I'm waiting. Oh, here we go. Ah, that's the thing. These kelp are so efficient that you'll burn all of this out before the kelp runs out. So I guess a new strategy I need to adopt is just keep changing it out while it's going on to maximize how efficient you are with the amount of kelp you're burning while I'm waiting. That should help a little bit. Dirt. Ooh, potatoes. What was I gonna do with these? Was I gonna do anything with these? Bake them? I don't remember what I was gonna do with those. Yeah. What to do with you? I don't know. Maybe I'll swap it out real quick. Just to get them out of the way. run this food elsewhere while this stuff keeps smelting, or smoking, or baking, or whatever. Here they come to work. It's almost done. Let's see, we'll throw this in there. Okay, gotta make a quick run. Bird. Bah. Potatoes. Apples. That should do it. I want to go over to the tree farm, but I actually might not even be able to make it in the time I have left, because I'm just going to be so busy tending these smokers. Might just have to wait till next time. Put some more in you. And in you. What's about some more? More. So I suppose while I'm waiting, I should explain. Like I said, this is like my base house thingy. This is modeled after a garage, a real world building, a garage with an apartment off of it. I like the design, and I thought it would be a cool idea for a base, so, or house, or whatever you want to call it, an abode, so I built it. And I'm glad I did, because it's a really cool and unique experience. I've never had a place like this before. So down here, as you can tell, this is like, although this would normally be like the garage, I've turned it into sort of a workshop of sorts. So I've got all kinds of workstations and tools for myself, and like barrels to store some things in that I would immediately need, and I'm here all the time. But I've also has the dual purpose of this is where a lot of villagers can come to work, which is pretty cool because company and just it's really cool. You can watch them do their stuff, but also it's convenient because I can work, blah blah blah, and I can turn around and trade with someone like this guy. And that's mostly what happens down here. It's just me working and, well, me and them working actually. Then you just come up these stairs, and I've been here before, but this is the actual apartment stuff. This is my private living quarters where no one comes except me. So like, this is the bedroom, and it's got some chests, and this is just sort of like a secondary room. This is a to-do list I have of things here. I used to put old logbooks, which I keep a record of what I do every day I play, and write other important stuff down on these for the historical record, basically. But this one's a to-do list. I used to put them here. Now they're going to be somewhere else. I'm going to be building an archives, like a place called the Archives, and that's where all the historical stuff will be. So that's what that's about. This is just like living quarters. Got a jukebox for when I get a disc, which will probably be a while. Furnaces, that's fish for those two. That's Brownie, that's Dune. And a big map of the place, whole world. I can get a better look at things. There's supposed to be a small map here, but I've lost it, so I'll probably place it with this one. Also up here, there's nothing right now, but this is specifically built for enchanting purposes. Like, each one of these raised platforms will have a bookshelf on it, and then the enchantment table will be right here. And so I can just come here and enchant, and these are slabs, so the light will actually go straight through them and keep things from spawning on the roof, which is yet another thing I have to take account for when dealing with hostile mobs. But not till later, so this is empty for now. But one day, that will be where I enchant inside this city, this great city of Foster, or whatever. This great community of Foster. Place this one. Just more and more. I think I am going to do something with this dirt. You may have noticed these three diorite structures I'm going into. These are my storage facilities. While I'm here, all these chests, I've had to fill this many with cobblestone twice and then some. Actually, I think 3 times and then some to build the wall, just for reference. But anyway, these are storage facilities. They're my own little design based off another real-life structure. But they're just split into quadrants like this, and each quadrant houses things. And I have multiple sizes of these. There's supposed to be a different floor here, but I don't have the materials to build it yet. It'll make going up and down a lot nicer, I assure you. But this is storage facility C, I believe, and this is basically just for mining materials, like primarily cobblestone, dirt, gravel, and this granite, andesite, diorite. I also have redstone in there just because there's so much redstone. And I've got a farm around here. Nice big farm with lots of stuff. There's another one over there. That's, I think, the B, SFB, Storage Facility B. And that's the original one that I've built in this world. And that's primarily building materials. It's actually pretty empty right now. It used to be the only one, and I used it for everything. And then there's the big one that you saw me go to a while ago. And that is Storage Facility A. And excuse me, that is primarily for tools or weaponry, and although I don't really need that now, and food. I don't really need either of those right now because I'm in peaceful, but in the future I certainly will. So they're there. And there's also a large farm around that one. That's the newest multiple crop farm I've made. So, yep. Wonder where that stone mason is. Actually, you know what? While I'm here, I'll just get the sugar cane. It's ready to be harvested anyway. There you are. probably put wall builder away too. I haven't used wall builder in a while because I have some toolsmiths to make me tools that I just use for building projects, so I don't waste wall builder. Because wall builder is primarily for big projects or mining lots of resources. So I use stone tools stone tools mostly for building new stuff because they get the job done and they're pretty cheap, easily replaceable, especially now that I don't need all that cobblestone. But I mean, I don't spend any anyway because I just get it from the toolsmiths. I just buy more and more and more of them, so it works out great. Pop, and that's in. To all those out there who think you could never ever possibly have enough kelp to feed yourself with, to them I say, are you sure about that? Are you absolutely certain? Oh look, we're out of fuel. So we gotta fill that one up again. And just put there. Those are on their last blocks after a little bit. Sugarcane. We'll go ahead and make some paper to sell before too long. I think they take 24 pieces of paper. Let's see. 21. Put that there. This one up there. Boom. You know what? Oh, hello. You really need a place to work, man. I've got places for them, but they just have trouble finding them. Well, anyway, I think I'll go to sleep for morning. Alright. Gotta wait for the cartographer slash... Hey, you're the dude I sell brown dye to. Cartographer slash, what's his name? Librarian to get here. Although the librarian actually works at the library, not here. Speaking of which, I need to get him more bookshelves. But what have I not to do? That is the real question. Bazinga. Believe me, I've got a lot more cocoa beans than it looks like. At least now I do. And no, we don't want that. I think I'll probably just sell the cartographer. Because he's closer. Hello. Yes. Yes, indeed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yes. Okay. Eight. 59. Keep them smokers a-going, boys. And I can get some of these too. I grow just about everything I can because, believe it or not, just about everything can be used here. Even cactus. Oh right, I've got some more. Did I have a third one out there? I should have had a third one. Okay, maybe not. I did. I did it. Never mind. Blech. I know somewhere else where there's cacti as well. Hippity hop. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. Now my hat has damage. Dummy. Gosh. I need to repair it now. It's probably fine as long as I don't ding it up around some more. I don't think fall damage does. I don't think fall damage counts. I think we're okay. But I can probably take this off. I need to take you off. Get to brewing. I don't have that much more to go. Cactus. Once I filled up my supply of kelp, I can sell again. Actually, I could sell right now. I've got a little bit extra. But just proof that these guys like it. There's a guy, except I'm not going to sell to him because he wants it for more. There's two guys that like it for cheaper. Here, yeah. All three of these guys like it. And 10 dried kelp blocks sounds like a lot, but I mean, again, remember how much I've been making. And how fast they're coming back. It's redonkulous. Another thing you can sell to farmers, eggs. And oh. Let me see. While I'm waiting, I suppose I can write down some in the logbook. Let's see. What is today? It's 27. Oh, it's this late. I didn't think it was. Well, for the historical record. Oh, Yes. Smoked it. And that'll do for that book for today. Because although it's only 2 tabs, that's literally all we did in these 2 hours now. Oh, they're going to their chats. The funny thing is, I wasn't able to hear them making noises for a while because of a texture pack I had on. It kept them from making noise, so they were really quiet for a long time. And now they're just, well, listen to them. They're just going at it. Oh, hi. These guys, you know, despite being called nitwits, they're kind of funny. And I don't mean funny and, haha, you stupid. I mean funny as in, it's almost like they're on a whole nother level. Anyway. We're getting closer. Make some more. Bang. Blah, blah, More matters. Let's see. 14. How marvelous. How perfectly. Okie dokie. So we'll just let them finish doing what they're doing. And I think that's gonna do it for us today. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. So I'll keep tending these until they're done, and you can wander off to wherever it is you're going on the web or whatever else you're doing. So thank you, and I sure hope you'll check in next time.